I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. We're in the second hour here. Today is Monday, May the 14th. Don't forget to donate if you haven't to RonPaul2012.com. So I want to thank you if you were listening the last hour. Let's see, right before we ended the hour, we were talking about this new website that's out. You guys check that out, thereal2012delicatecount.com. If they're correct, they are saying that Mitt Romney has the actual 312 delegates versus Ron Paul 110 delegates, which is a lot more closer than they make it seem, the media. And we got the momentum. We're picking them up. So let's keep it moving right along. Let's see. Also, we were talking about Herman Cain got interrupted by a Ron Paul supporter in Virginia Beach. So that was great. Trying to cater to us. Just because you say the word Constitution 1,000 times don't mean we buying it. All right, let's see here. And then we played that clip from News 9, where basically the news came over there. Everybody was outside doing the convention in Oklahoma. And so that's great that News 9 got out there and captured that. We need as much media attention as possible. Now, what else is going on here? I told you guys that there's an article here about the worst convention that we've had. Let me pull that up real quick. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Was this the worst political convention? Let me see. Was this the worst political convention in all of human history? I was asked repeatedly during the Republican convention in Augusta, Maine. The question is easily answered. No. Connoisseurs of chaos must look elsewhere for history's worst convention. The 1952 GOP gathering in Chicago resulted in fistfights and choruses of boos. Representative Everett Dirksen, ill-reminiscing later during a speech in Old Orchard Beach, compared it to a Maine's storm-driven tides. The George McGovern-Hubert Humphrey clash at the 1968 Democratic Convention spilled over into the streets and resulted in actual bloodshed. There was no booing, fisticuffs, or bloodshed in Augusta. The 1920 GOP convention in Chicago went through 10 ballots in 100-degree heat. I think some delegates actually dissolved and their remains had to be mopped up by the janitors. We didn't see a trickle of sweat in Augusta. Delegates may have suffered agonies from boredom during the long dead periods, but their suffering was mental, not physical. In 1860, Democrats went through 67 ballots at their Charleston, South Carolina meeting without choosing a nominee. They reconvened in Baltimore, where everything fell apart, with the Southern delegates departing to hold their own convention in another hall. There was still a single main Republican Party on May 6th. So, yeah, it's crazy. Matter of fact, there have been more horrible conventions than the one in Augusta, but the worst of all was surely the one held in the Sultanate of Dismalia during the last 3 months of 1896. It resulted in 183 dead, more than 500 wounded, and 18 irreconcilable factions with no nominee. It ended only when Sultan Nashkanak the Merciful stepped in to execute the survivors and cancel the elections. Public opinion approved His Majesty's decision, and no further experiments with democratic government have been tried there since. All right, so you guys can check this out. This is over at the kjonline.com. Paul Delegates won fair and square. Convention, not history's worst either. That's written from John Ferry. All right, now, if you didn't see it, we also got some more media attention from Channel 4 out in Oklahoma talking about Romney supporters punching Ron Paul supporters. Now, this was put on Twitter from Ron Paul, at Ron Paul 2012 News on May 12th. It says here, craziness going down in Arizona GOP convention. A Ron Paul supporter was assaulted on the floor. When Romney's son was speaking, he blatantly broke the rules of the committee. When our friend stood to motion that the speaker stop, a Romney supporter assaulted him, and the motion was completely ignored. Now, if that had been us, we would have all been thrown out. Okay, so I'm going to go and play that clip for you guys, that audio, for you real quick.
Also Also tonight, chaos at the Oklahoma Republican State Convention in Cleveland County. Republicans gathered in Norman to vote on party issues, but the procedure took a backseat to physical altercations. News Channel 4's Latasha Gibbons joins us live outside the Embassy Suites Hotel in Norman with the latest. Latasha?
Well, Jolene, it was an eventful day at the Republican State Convention, and most of the discourse lasted throughout the evening. We're told police had to get involved when a 70-year-old Mitt Romney supporter punched a Ron Paul supporter in the head after they disagreed on the vote. But most of the contention was captured on cell phone video.
This woman right here, Mrs. has physically assaulted me.
The video you're watching is being recorded by a woman who says she was just hit in the back.
And with a fist to my back. I did. Yes, she most certainly did.
And a woman struck me with her fist in the middle of my spine and said, "It's your own damn fault."
This wasn't the only commotion during the Oklahoma Republican State Convention. This Ron Paul supporter says he was hit in the head by a 70-year-old Mitt Romney supporter.
I threw it, got done, moved on, and got to the important business that everyone here is here for, instead of wasting time on something else. And I really did appreciate how great the police were.
Here's video moments after the altercation as officers diffused the situation.
Okay, so you were hit, but you have a positive attitude about it?
Yeah, no big deal. No, everybody got what was coming, and we got back in and got back to work.
Attendees say there was a lot of disagreement throughout the day, but things came to a halt when the lights were turned off and the conference room walls closed on one group.
My heart was totally broken when the convention just was put into shambles, and they were turning mics off, they turned the lights off, they pulled the walls across to prevent delegates from voting.
When our cameras arrived, supporters for Romney, Santorum, Gingrich, and others left. Only Ron Paul supporters were left talking about their concerns.
We'll say that election of delegates at large and alternate at large shall be by roll call vote, and yet the convention chair insisted on having it by a single voice vote without the roll call, no waiting.
Some of the party officials I spoke to off camera say they believe things got heated and out of control because supporters of different candidates are just so passionate about the upcoming election. But they also say at the end of the day, they're all Republicans and they would rather see one of their own in the White House instead of President Obama. Reporting live in Norman, I'm Latasha Gibbons, News Channel 4 HD. Back to you.
At the end of the day, we are not all Republicans. We got Democrats infiltrating the Republican Party, and it's been going on for a while. They're all Democrats. They don't want people to know while we're tripping out. We're not going to unify for Mitt Romney. And there's nothing you're going to say. You're not talking to the average voter, the average dumb out there. We know what's going on. We know Mitt Romney's no different than Obama. If anything, we're trying to be nice at these conventions. We could come out and really take it to some of these people really hard because we got the arguments. We're on the right side. Right is on our side, basically. We're speaking the truth. Now, there's this post that was put up. I'll probably read it after the break. 5 possible outcomes that could happen after what went down in Oklahoma. Because if everything goes as planned and it was done legally, we're going to get all the delegates out of Oklahoma, which would be great, which would be awesome. Let's see here, Bo. Yeah, we'll have to jump into that. Maybe we can get into some of it now. We'll jump into that when we get back. So, yeah, they're saying that 2 Romney supporters punch 2 Ron Paul supporters, and guess what? Neither one of the Ron Paul supporters hit them back. Now, I'm so glad it wasn't me, or I hope it doesn't become me, because I might just knock one of these old ladies out. Like, you punching me in my back, y'all punching me in somebody's back when they can't see you. Some of these old people better chill, man. They better chill out because not every Ron Paul supporter has a discipline that we all should. I mean, we're stressed out. We're working hard. We all been going through it. Don't push our nerves. We're trying our best to be peaceful. Anyways, we'll be back. I'm your host, Paco. You're listening to Occupy the Media.
Hi, I'm Dana, and I started out as a Ron Paul fan just like you. And now I'm a full-time volunteer leader at our Ron Paul headquarters in Venice, California. It starts with the first thing you hear Ron Paul say that is different than all the other politicians and that you just happen to agree with 100%. Next, there's a point where you realize that you agree with everything he has to say, and then, well, what's next? If you live in Los Angeles, you're lucky enough to be near the heart of the grassroots campaign center we have at 1728 Abbott Kinney.